Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. So today is going to be a year in review. I do this every year as a kind of a closeout to the year. I give you an idea of where I think that the industry has come from, where it is, and my predictions as far as where it's going. So I always have fun with this stuff, and I took a bunch of notes on how things have went and whatnot. I want to just share it with you, and then at the end, I want to get your comments on anything that I possibly missed and possibly your thoughts on my predictions and maybe your predictions also. So let's start out with the beginning. In the beginning. So at the beginning of the year, we did have, of course, that A7 from Sony, which was just a monster release for them. They did such a good job with that camera. And I've said it in the past, there was many people that moved over into the Sony camp because of that camera. Why? Because it was a sub $2,000 full frame mirrorless camera. There was nothing out there like it, number one. Also, number two, it was just amazing. You got so much out of what you paid for. The value was just simply there, right guys? It was just simply there. So you had a lot of people that converted to Sony because of that camera. And then you also had a lot of people that were on the fence seeing where they wanted to go. Are they going Canon, Nikon? Where are they going? They ended up going with Sony. Those are the new people, the new blood, as I call it. Sony received a lot of new blood into their company because of that camera. I called it a loss leader from day one. I said that it was going to be the camera of the year, and I said that it was a loss leader just to bring people in. And I stick by that, and I really do think that ended up coming to pass. So that was kind of like the beginning. And then we had Canon. Now, we know Canon had their M series, right? You had the M3, the M5, the M6, which did pretty well here in the US. And then finally they released at the beginning of the year the M50, or for you overseas, you probably call it the EOS Kiss, whatever you want to call it. People here in the US really didn't see that big of a deal with this camera. I said it was going to be big, but now we found out that the Canon M50 ended up being the #1 selling mirrorless camera on the market for 2018. Right? A lot of you are like, what are you talking about? It's not Sony or something? No, it's the Canon M50. So Canon did really well with that camera. It was kind of their entry into, let's say, mirrorless. And they did well with it. Now, did they stick with that mount? They did not. And we'll talk about that later. But it is the camera that sold the most for 2018 when it comes to mirrorless cameras. Then we moved on to Fuji. Fujifilm had their X-H1 that ended up coming out that was, let's say, the big brother to their X-T2, and it just did a lot of things right. And a lot of people that were using the X-T2 moved on to the X-H1. Why? Well, there were some things that the X-T2 didn't have. You had IBIS now on the H1, you have DCI 4K, you have F-Log, you also had 120 FPS at 1080p. So that was a lot of goodness for not that much more in price. So the H1 did really well. Now we moved into Nikon, and we found that Nikon understood that DP-AF, or dual pixel AF by Canon, has really been the mainstay of their company. It's been that one thing that they've always been able to say when everything else fails, hey, we got dual pixel AF, and it works. And it does work, guys. It does. Well, PD-AF was patented by Nikon and is basically the sister to, or the brother to, DP-AF. It's another new, let's say, way of pulling focus, and it does a really good job of it. So that was patented at the beginning of the year, and they're rolling it into all of their new bodies. Next, Nikon introduced a brand new, massive loss, guys. A $94 million loss is what they posted. And that loss was really not taken well by the shareholders, but they understood that it needed to happen. There was a restructuring that happened within Nikon, and I think for the better. We didn't know at the time, but now looking down the road, I think it was a good thing. Next came Apple with their introduction of the iPhone X. Now, a lot of you have bought the iPhone X or now XR, XRS, whatever, but the X came out and it was a really, really big thing. And they had this big campaign that said it produces studio quality portraits without the studio. And the photo industry was in uproar over it, and they really took them to task on it. And after, I think, some litigation and some things out there, the court said, listen, they're allowed to keep that ad running. They're allowed to say that it does produce studio quality portraits without the studio, which most of us thought was just absolutely ridiculous, but it is what it is. It does produce extremely nice photos, but not portrait photos that you'd find in a studio. I don't think so, at least. Anyways, Fujifilm then came with a acknowledgement that they were going to move production from Japan to China for some of their cameras. This was not taken very well by the community, but they said, you know what, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and see what their next camera looks like. And more importantly, how is the QC? How is that quality control? And that's what they did. Moving forward, Fujifilm did release the X-T3. And the X-T3 basically put the doubts of all the people to rest. The X-T3 ended up being an amazing camera for both photo and video, and have since been named the camera of the year for 2018 by many folks out there. So, X-T3, massive success for Fujifilm. Remember, Fujifilm did not go full frame. They decided to stick with APS-C and make it the best APS-C camera out there, and that they did. Now, the next thing that came to my mind was photo contests, and how some photo contests were now being judged by AI, by artificial intelligence. They were now determining what was a good picture and what was not. There was a lot of you guys that said, wow, I can't believe it, but it just seems to be how things are going these days. Everything is becoming more and more automated, and we do believe that the computers can figure things out better than we figure things out. On the art side, I just don't feel that way. But as of today, there are some contests now being judged by artificial intelligence. Kind of strange, but it is what it is. Next came the rollout in last quarter of 2018, where there was just a massive heat up in the full frame mirrorless industry, right? The wars really began, where Sony was just crushing the market. They were the only one out there with full frame mirrorless. Finally, Nikon rolls out a new camera line called their Z series with the Z6 and the Z7. Now, they called this the revolution in photography, and they just massacred this, let's just say, for about 2 or 3 weeks straight. This amazing ad campaign that was just running over and over, and how amazing this camera was going to be, and this revolution after 100 years. And it fell short. Okay, guys, it simply fell short. They said it was going to be a D850, but in the mirrorless side. And it really wasn't, guys. It wasn't. Was it okay? Was it good? Yes, the Z7 did pretty well, and now the Z6, but it really was not, neither of them, a D850 in mirrorless body. So, did they do well? I think if you were a Nikon user, you were very happy to go with the Z6 or Z7 if you wanted to go mirrorless. But to bring in new blood like Sony did with their A7 Mark III, absolutely not. Right after that, Canon replied with their mirrorless full frame, their EOS R. And once again, as Canon is so famous for doing, they put out a neutered camera that just fell short. 4K, a lot of other issues. So were they in direct competition now with Nikon and Sony? Yes, they were. And are people that are Canon users that want mirrorless going with the EOS R? Absolutely they are. But did Canon bring in new blood with their mirrorless full frame? I do not think so. I do not think so. Next came Fujifilm. And like I said, they are just crushing APS-C mirrorless. What they've decided to do is not go full frame and go medium format. So they came out with their new GFX 50R, which was the successor to the 50S, let's call it. It's smaller, it's lighter, it is sub $5,000. It's about $4,500 for just a mirrorless medium format, which is crazy. Most medium format digital cameras you're going to pay are $10,000 plus, up to $50,000 and $60,000. Fujifilm has now come out with a medium format camera that a lot of professionals are really liking, especially for product work as well as magazine and portrait work, for sub $5,000. I do think they're going to continue down this line, and they're doing a really good job with it, as they are with their other cameras. Now, towards the very end of the year, we have the announcement of Panasonic finally understanding that they need to go full frame. They've really squeezed everything they could out of the Micro Four Thirds with their GH5 line and their GH5S. And they announced the S1 and the S1R, full frame mirrorless. Now, the video guys out there that I know that have been shooting GH5Ss for the last 6 months to a year are just enthralled. They don't even know what to do with themselves, are so excited about the S1 and the S1R. Now, is the rest of the community as excited for Panasonic? I don't know. I don't know. But I think they should be. Now, we've kind of said where we were, where we are now. The question is, where are we going, guys? Where are we going? Predictions. So I put together a couple of predictions. I want to know your thoughts on it. Number one, I think that Canon will replace their EOS R with a professional version of that camera that is less neutered. Less neutered, guys. Next, we have Nikon and their Z6 and their Z7. I think they're going to stick with those cameras and not come up with a new full-frame mirrorless for 2019. I think they're going to concentrate on their Noct and their professional glass for their R series cameras. That's what I personally believe. Next, we have Panasonic, and they will, of course, come out with their S1 as well as their S1R, but I do believe that they're going to put a bunch of R&D money and production time and development into their full-frame series and start cutting out some of their Micro Four Thirds development, possibly slowing down, not shutting down, but slowing down on its development. Next comes Fujifilm. I think Fujifilm will come out with a successor to their H1 with, let's call it, an H2. That camera, I believe, is going to address a lot of the shortcomings of the H1, and a lot of folks are going to see that as maybe the big brother to the X-T3, which of course, is the camera of the year this year. So we'll see what they do with that. And of course, like I said before, they're going to put a lot of effort into remember, sub $4,000 medium format camera. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Maybe it will be their GFX 50R that they'll drop to, let's call it $3,999. Possibly, might happen. That would be amazing. A sub $4,000 medium format camera. And finally, what I believe to be the key word, the buzzword for 2018, besides this year being full frame mirrorless, I believe 2019's buzzword will be 8K. Now, some of you guys won't agree with me on this one, but I really do believe a lot of folks are going to see 8K really boom in 2019. Will we see it on the shelves all over the place? Are we going to see a lot of 8K TVs or a lot of 8K compatible computers that will be able to handle it? Possibly. But the buzz is going to be 8K, and we're going to see a lot of the camera manufacturers either produce or at least tell us that they are coming out or working on or make announcements thereof. 8K is in the near future. So guys, what do you think for 2019? What are your predictions? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What additions would you like to make to this list? I want to see them in the comment area below so we can have this discussion. I absolutely love these end of year reviews and taking a look at the year and how it unfolded and having these discussions on how do we think that our industry is going to move forward for the next year. So that's it, guys. As always, I hope you enjoy my content. Please, if you have, throw me a big thumbs up. That would be stellar. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you can get all my content when it becomes available, and click the bell icon so when it is available, you will be notified of it. And finally, head over to my website, jchristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me. That's it, guys, for 2018. We'll be back next year. There's a couple of questions that I want to ask you at the end of this. Number one, what do you want to see more of on the channel? So far, we've done about 80, 85 videos for 2018. Do you want to see a lot more videos for 2019? Do you want to see some live broadcasts? Do you want to see how-tos? What do you want to see more of? Or in addition to what I normally do, my commentary. Please, in the comment area, besides addressing 2019 and your predictions, please put what you think or what you would like for me to add to this channel. There's almost no trolls on this channel at all. I'm blessed. That's all that I can say. I'm absolutely blessed with all of you guys. The channel's been doing so well. And I want to thank you for myself and my family for all of your support when it comes to the products that I've made over the years. The PRT, the photo reference tool, the focus pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, and now the ACC, which is the Aurora camera care line, where we clean lenses as well as sensors. So take a look at those. If you like the product, please pick it up once again and support me in 2019. I would really appreciate it. So that's it. Once again, I am out of here. We'll see you very, very soon. Take care, guys.